Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of my PAX analysis. This is the last one I'm going to have time to do for probably just over a week. I got a pretty busy week coming up. One of the commenters on Reddit asked me to do the Fwosh versus Lumi game. This is one I haven't watched yet. It's also one which I assume they don't have the handicap, which we'll find out in a second. So it's kind of a better representation of actual gameplay, in that way at least. I haven't watched it yet, but hopefully they're not playing the same decks as I've done in the last 2 analyses. So let's fire it up and get started. Alright, so it looks like we've got the Armored Cleave deck from the bottom player. Bronze Legionnaire here is good, because it just deals with this, and it's not a lot you're worried about. Like, maybe you're worried about new orders that could come through. I don't think I'd play around it, though. Like, if he new orders like this, that's actually okay. It's not a big deal. Poised to Strike doesn't kill him. Another option would have been to play Bronze Legionnaire here and hope it paths like this, and then Poised to Strike, and you kill Bristleback. So you end up with, like, a equitable third lane, middle lane, and first lane, rather than, you know, winning mid lane and losing right lane. Depends on what you're trying to do. We got Zeus coming out somewhere from... Who's White Dragon? I don't know which one is which. I'm just going to use their in-game names, White Dragon and Black Dragon. So you got Zeus coming out from White Dragon. You have Faravan, I think is his name, coming out from Black Dragon. Faravan doesn't die to Bristleback, so maybe that's fine. Only 2 damage gets through, though, so over the course of 2 turns he doesn't kill Bristleback, and he does die to Bristleback. I'd probably wait until a little later this game to actually try and, like, get back into right lane if I was Black Dragon. Especially without minions spawning there. Aren't likely to really start snowballing it out of control. Let me see if I can get to the point where I can see their hands, because that might affect things. Okay. Yeah, and you also don't have, like, a green card in hand that does anything to, like, mess with that dynamic. Let's quickly bring up the deck list. So, Rebel Decoy could make it good to play Faravan right lane. Prowler Vanguard doesn't really do anything. Savage Wolf could be good there. Blacksmith could be good there. I don't know. I think it's probably more worth it to play Faravan middle lane. Does mean that you can't... If you draw a 6-mana green card, you can't Celemani's Favor from left to right and then play that. But I think, like, the green-red deck doesn't necessarily want to take a huge amount of time up against the blue-red control deck, and playing it middle lets you start, you know, advancing your win conditions a bit faster. Plus, if we're thinking about where Zeus is going to go, Zeus going middle makes a lot of sense for White Dragon. Cunning Plan means that he can swap, maybe Axe with a minion if the minion spawns here, or if Faravan spawns there, and that'll actually keep Keith alive, deal 1 piercing to this guy if that matters, like, assuming that, you know, Zeus spawns here or here. So there's a lot of good stuff going on middle lane for Zeus. Left lane feels a little out of reach. You know, you might want to use Cunning Plan there with this minion if it spawns here to move something. Or rather, if it spawns... Oh no, because there's a lucky passive regardless. But, yeah, I'd say both players should play mid here. This is the contested lane, this game. This one is currently White Dragons, and this one is currently Black Dragons. Let's go ahead and watch what happens, though. I'm going to be Poised to Strike in a second if they don't take this card off the screen. I didn't want to see what was in the other lanes anyway. So, Zeus spawning into the left lane seems a little greedy to me. I think you're really relying on drawing something like a Tower Barrage for this to make any sense, because that way, like, maybe you can get multiple procs out of this or something. I think Luna ping went here, which is good at least, because maybe you could cunning plan Lycan with this creep, and then that way Lycan is only affecting one thing, so like this minion stays at 2. Whereas if you cunning plan because you want to get the ping here and you do it on something else, like maybe you swap these or even these, Lycan stays in the middle, and so he's going to get both of his perks available. Leather armor was picked up after that early hero kill in right lane from White Dragon. That keeps Luna alive, so there's definitely ways in which playing both blue heroes here, like eventually, over a couple of turns, allows this lane to be reclaimed. But with Keith dying in middle lane and nothing that can save him, because you want to play it here now, you've conceded middle lane with this deploy from White Dragon, and you're like now fighting a bit of a weird fight, I think. But at least White Dragon does have this right lane, winning it uncontested, you know. They've got some room to play with. On the opponent's side, so on Black Dragon's side, I would probably start just by playing Salamani's favor middle lane. Then I can get an Ogre Conscript down on turn 2 and really snowball that out of control. So I don't think there's a better play. You know, you're not gonna like pass initiative just so you can see what they play. And you know, had White Dragon had initiative, like maybe Cunning Plan comes out first, and then you're thinking, oh, you know, Prowler Vanguard is good or something like that. But I think Salamani's earlier you can get it down, the better. Let you get this Ogre Conscript out really early. Solid line for Black Dragon. Yep, Salamani's. I like that. Cunning Plan. That's definitely not the swap I would have made. It does mean Zeus takes less damage. Actually, it doesn't mean that Zeus takes less damage because that Pathing card. So he would have killed one and had one hitting him regardless. And any swap other than swapping these two means that you're taking 4 because Lycan is giving the damage. So a very equivalent swap would have meant that Zeus only took 2 instead of 4. And the only downside would be that Lycan would have taken 2 from the creep instead of 3 from Luna, which is not a significant amount less. I'm trying to think what this means. Like, if you did this swap and then Luna ping hit Lycan, Tower Barrage wouldn't kill him. Whereas now next turn Tower Barrage will kill Lycan if a Luna ping hits. But yeah, who cares? I think it's better to just reduce the efficacy of this Lycan slightly. Let's keep going. That's a pretty minor thing though. Ogre Conscript, yep, there. It's good. Clear the deck doesn't do much. It clears this, but I'd rather keep it, I think. So no play, yeah. Lane 3, nothing to do. If it was 1 more mana fighting instinct, would have been good. Cool. So pretty solid. Turn 2. Let's take a look at the items. We can only see them for 1 player, unfortunately. With 9 gold and the Cleave deck, Vigil is good. Traveler's Cloak might be better just because it keeps Lycan alive. You can only buy one of these two because this is 7, this is 3, and you've got 9. Also, Traveler's Cloak, like against Bristle, if you want to play something in the 3rd lane, could be useful. So I'd probably go for that. Like, you've already got low health here, low health here. You've killed Keith middle. I don't think you need the extra damage to punch through, especially because you have, like, if you really need Cleave urgently, you just Grand Melee. If you need damage against 1 target, you place a Stroke. So Blade of the Vigil doesn't accomplish too much here. Let's see what he goes for. No, he goes for that. I think that was possibly a mistake, but we'll see. Healing Salve picked up on the other side too means that this damage is like less important. Talking about deploys real quick. I think at this point, abandoning mid this turn is good. It's unfortunate that the next hero coming up isn't blue, because like maybe you want to equip. Probably not, but there's like 2 ways that Earthshaker mid goes really badly. So it goes really badly if Axe or Ogre Conscript hits it. And that would super suck if you played like Conflag and then drew Tower Barrage. You could start chipping away at stuff. Although there's 2 armor here, 2 armor here, 2 armor here. Sorry. Yeah, well, here and then 1 here. Man, middle lane is like so out of control here. You need to start developing something, but probably this turn isn't the turn to do it. I definitely think this Zeus being played left lane is really bad. the couple of turns ago, because now with 2 heroes spawning, like, there's no way that one of them doesn't get committed here. I'd probably commit both there, maybe. You've got a creep spawning, and he's got 2 creeps spawning here, so one of them goes here, and then yours either blocks here or here. Either way, like at 30 health, you're taking either 8 or 2. You're on like a 6-turn clock or something, unless new stuff gets played there. So the need to contest right lane with a red hero isn't super high. I don't think it accomplishes too much. If you play both red heroes left, like how can he punish you? He can't really. He's on 5. So blue only has access to, and blue's the only thing he could have access to. Blue only has access to Foresight, Tower Barrage, Ventriloquy, Cunning Plan. I think that's about it. And that doesn't really do anything, again, unless the ping is good. And if the ping is good, then you're even happier that you played 2 red heroes here. So yeah, I would definitely play both red heroes here and Earthshaker. I think this lane is fine, kind of. It's mostly, like, what you're hoping for if you play it here is either that he does commit one needlessly to the right, or you draw Conflagration, and you play it, you know, either here or here. I think mid would have been okay, too. You're just setting up for, like, a longer defense. Like, you're trying to do something the turn after next. I mean, left lane's a consideration, too. Just because of the fact that you're already pretty behind in the lane. You don't have a lot of great things to do this turn on 5 mana. This gives you another blocker in a lane that could get out of control. I don't know. It's a toss-up between all 3 lanes. They all have different strengths, and it depends on your read. I'd probably go middle. And then try and Eclipse next turn, after healing Luna this turn and having it on like 5 charges. Let's see what happens. This is tough. I think it's a lot clearer for Black Dragon. If he goes here, it's not the end of the world. It just seems a bit slow to me. I think this is an easier game one. This doesn't do anything. It's probably a fine spawn for the Pugna, because you don't really care. Oh, Tower Barrage got drawn. That's really good. So if you Cunning Planned Lycan in this creep, then the Zeus Ping would hit this and Tower Barrage would wipe the board. If you just Tower Barraged, you could still Cunning Plan and the 1 damage would tick over, so it doesn't really matter too much which order you do it in. Healing Luna first would have been better than Cunning Planning first. The reason being that that puts Luna on 8 health and 1 armor, which means a duel doesn't get the kill, right? Oh, and also I would have Tower Barraged first, because now if duel is on the side of Black Dragon, if you Cunning Plan and then he duels, like, he still gets better value. Like, he kills the healed up guy. Blade of the Vigil ended up being okay. Forces a healing pot, which it seemed like White Dragon was hesitant to play. This is fine. If both red heroes had gone there, that would have been way better, though. Like, was there any... There's 1 mana left, so Pugna would have been sitting here. And then Poised to Strike would have cleared Luna, too. You would have just completely dominated this lane, with Keef being the only thing to come back next turn. I don't think playing Mercenary Exiles is great. I think Grand Melee is probably a mistake, too, because it just lets Keef spawn here and start clearing away things if White Dragon needs to play slow. Grand Melee could actually be really good in the right lane. Let's talk about Grand Melee real quick. Grand Melee is not a great card. But in a lane that you're losing, but you have like a tanky red hero in, so for example, the newly revealed Tidehunter, let's say he's sitting in a lane that you're losing. If you play Grand Melee, it just means that he is able to slowly whittle away waves of creeps, which can be okay. Like, the exact reason why you wouldn't want to play at mid lane here, in that, you know, hero spawns from the opponent start whittling you away, is the reason why you might want to play it in the right lane. I don't think there's any reason why you want to keep initiative, so I would just use it. There's never going to be a better time to play this card than right now. Even though it doesn't do a lot, it does something. Unless I'm forgetting that there's like some weird creep spawns happening on the board over here that mean that you will get more value out of just blocking with those and they'll die to Grand Melee. Doesn't look like Black Dragon went for it. Is it their jackets? So Black Dragon is Lumi, White Dragon is Fwosh. I assume that's the thing. Okay, looking at this lane, Grand Melee doesn't do anything. Oh, also you could have played 2 Grand Melees because you would sell Eni's Favor. And that would have meant that, like, every single turn you're just... Like, this Pugna is wiping out something. And it would have meant that he cleaved 4 damage onto Earthshaker, so for 2 turns with the damage from 2 here, like, Earthshaker dies. So, yeah, I would have gone for that. I think this is a good play, especially sitting at 7 gold, which is probably pretty hard to see. Conflag ended up being drawn, which is good. And made this Earthshaker play a little better, although he could have played Conflag from middle lane to right or left too. I think spending the money on the guy there is fine. Unless you are afraid of Eclipse, in which case maybe you want to save it for a Cloak or something on the left lane. Keef spawning here. I think that's a good place for him to spawn. Don't think it needs too much explanation. Right lane is doing fine. Middle lane is way out of control and needs a blue hero, not a red one. Eclipse brings you back into this lane. So I'd probably Eclipse here. Yep. That didn't require too much thinking about. Yeah, you're well and truly back in this lane. Middle here. I would do what I talked about before and play both Grand Melees in the right lane. You definitely don't want them in the left lane, because if you have creep waves that spawn there, it means that things like Luna, even on her 3 attack, will start to have the creeps in front of her die, and now you're behind as Black Dragon in left lane, so that matters. Savage Wolf mid lane could be a good play. I think there's a very, very realistic situation where the way you win this game is by killing his Ancient. Also, Divine Purpose on Axe could be fine. Yeah. So the reason why this is fine is, like, maybe I'm afraid of Thunder God's Wrath, and he's on 4 health. This just means that I get to maintain pressure in that lane as much as possible, no matter what. Yeah, so Earthshaker would be dying this turn if the last round in middle lane, both Grand Melees had been played here. Worth considering. This means that if there's 2 Thunder God's Wraths drawn, so one in the first lane and one in the last lane next turn, he's got a better chance of clearing your board. I agree with nothing being played. I would draw a card here for Black Dragon. Wow, 2 Blade of the Vigils and Phase Boots for... That's a lot of money. You have to play this right lane, like this Lycan. I think it's... Let's rewind. Here's why I think that this should go right lane instead of left lane. In terms of how behind you are in each lane, let's compare. In this lane, you're behind by a very healthy Keef and like a fine healthy Luna, and there's a minion spawning here, and his tower's on 38, and there's a Conflag, and your health's on 25, right? The only thing which is better about left lane for you, and the only thing that makes you think you want to win that lane more, is that you have 3 more health on your tower than in right lane, right? If we assess right lane and how likely you are to be able to win over there, you've got 2 much weaker heroes, you've got a sturdy creep, you've got a creep spawning here this turn, and he's on lower health. Doesn't let you pressure Luna, who you'd like to kill, but at this point there's not really a realistic way that a Lycan by himself is even going to kill that Luna, so those charges are going to build up regardless. All in all, I think playing Lycan left lane is just a big mistake, unilaterally pretty much. On the opponent's side, spawning Zeus mid makes a lot of sense, because if you draw Echo Slam, you get to wipe this board. You are winning both in left and in right, so they don't need any help. Makes a lot of sense. Possibly it won't matter. Ultimately, your objective is just to stay alive and hopefully win mid anyway. Especially if you draw a duel and there's no Echo Slam, or you draw a duel and there is Echo Slam but you keep initiative. But like, look at his options here. You potion first for sure, because there's nothing good. Maybe a Rebel Decoy in front of Luna, and then swap Lycan into that spot, so that you can contest her over 2 turns, would be fine. So I would Rebel Decoy and swap them, and then Savage Wolf to trade with this, because you're just trying to buy time. And like, this is actually super scary right now. Yeah, that's definitely the right way of doing that. I suppose keeping Lycan here this turn and then making the swap next turn is also okay. The reason why I say that is because it leaves 2 open spots here and here for your opponent, which means if they play red mists, they can't play one like here. Whereas if you rebel decoy and swap, this 2/3 and this 2/4 live, and then next turn with a creep spawn here, red mist becomes 1 wider, like it can go in this lane or it can go in this lane. So maybe rebel is fine not to play, especially now that you see phase boots, it's fine. Although it might end up being played anyway if the phase boot swaps here so that red mist hits the tower, because then you can still shut it down if you play the rebel decoy. Playing left lane with Lycan is so much worse than right lane, I think. Look at how many resources you burned to actually gain like no positive result, really. That's the issue. Thunder Gods I would save until I can maybe do 2. Doesn't kill this, doesn't kill the guy in left lane. Ventriloquy on the creep could be a good play. And then I would play Blade of the Vigil. This is not the end of the world, but I don't think it does too. Oh, it does mean that Lycan Diced can flag, actually. Which, yeah, the casters are just noticing too. Like, that's pretty good. Yeah, I take it back. I like Thunder Gods because of the conflagration, which I'd forgotten about. Oh, he played both Grand Melees here to get the kill. Yeah. I like it. Yeah, that ended up being pretty useful. I think he could have, like, been in a better position across the entirety of all 3 lanes had he played them both in the right lane a couple of turns ago, but this is fine. Ended up working out. To be honest, yeah, and so obviously this Eclipse is pretty good. To be honest, after killing that Zeus in the middle lane, this game could just be done. I think last turn there was 7 damage. Okay, we can just count now. So there's 26. He should just draw Potion of Knowledge because he wants options for the end of the game here. But yeah, so 26 damage right now. 1 minion spawning. Both red heroes go mid. It's 26 plus 12, so 38 by default. This minion, worst case, it like spawns here, and then LC spawns here, and the paths go like this. But if we ignore the worst case and just assume that most of his damage gets through, like let's just say it blocks 7, right? Everything paths straight. Then he's got Poised to Strike, which is +4, and he's got Bronze Legionnaire and Savage Wolf, which is up to 7. So he's just got lethal in this middle lane. Like, the fact that Zeus went down last turn and Echo Slam wasn't drawn means that pretty much that's the end of the game. If these creeps didn't spawn here, would Time of Triumph have killed him? Would have been 10 plus 7 damage. So probably not. Oh, maybe if he'd gotten a blade then. In addition. So if he hadn't played one here. When did he play those? Was that last turn or the turn before? Oh, he played them this turn. That's really interesting. So playing the Blade of the Vigils here meant that he might have lost a game that he could have won. Assuming that these creeps didn't spawn, which isn't how things ended up, but still. Worth thinking about, I suppose. So yeah, that's going to be game. Because both red heroes go mid. You're hitting for like 42 or something. You know, it's close, but you're getting lethal. That's before any other card is drawn too. But Poised to Strike, like one of your red heroes is pretty much guaranteed to go through. In fact, it is guaranteed to go through unless LC Pugna and then Creep and then Pathing. Which would be hilarious. It is just, I suppose technically you're not guaranteed to win by putting everything mid that round with like the most obscene bad luck possible, but you're pretty likely to win. Oh, and he also drew Zerker's Call. So if the red thing had been neighboring the minion that was like blocking the win, this would have just cleared it out, and you would have hit through with what ended up being 2 Poised to Strikes and a Bronze Legionnaire. So yeah, really well played game by Black Dragon, and I think White Dragon played pretty well too. It was a little unlucky, to be honest, that White Dragon didn't find an Echo Slam this game. Like, on the penultimate turn, Echo Slam would have extended the game enough that I'm pretty certain White Dragon would have won. It would have just been like a Divine Purposed Axe in the middle lane trying to deal 60 damage by himself pretty slowly, which is super unlikely. The other stuff that was interesting was like the Zeus in the left lane play I think was definitely wrong on turn 2. And then I think Earthshaker here like 2 turns ago, so turn 7 mana or something. I think that was a little weird, maybe. I think it was fine though. All 3 lanes had reasons why you might want to play Earthshaker there before. And then also like committing your 2 blades was overzealous because it doesn't actually increase the clock at all. Right, it was 4, this would be on 12, this would be on 8 and 2. So playing one of them was correct. Keeping one back was probably right. I think that's all I got for this game. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. As I said, this is the last one I'm going to be recording for about a week or so. But I'm glad I got to do one where the decks were a little different. It wasn't just the Econ Ramp versus Control deck. There's a lot of cool card reveals happening on Artifact right now, and I'm really excited to be able to talk about more of the cards. I think I'd be curious to hear from you guys what videos you would like to see post like open beta / NDA drop if that happens. Something I've been thinking about doing is essentially doing a breakdown of every single card and how good I think it is, like per color. So there'll be a video for red, black, blue, and green. And then my hope is that can help inform people about what to invest in on day one, because you can just go buy the cards. It's a cool thing about Artifact. So let me know if that's interesting to you. Let me know if you'd like to see deck techs on like decks that have been doing well in the closed beta or that I think are good, because that's stuff that I could easily do also once the NDA drops. But yeah, I think I'll do some more of these analyses maybe later next week. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you next time.